got money, going back for more. Hungrier than I've been in the past before. What you asking for? I ain't asking folks, it's Elevate MCB, go ask your folk. And if they don't know, then you can school them like this. A couple dudes on the ground, trying to grind them right nicks.
Got the it ain't a rap tee, but we like this right here. We support this.
Oh, big
we support this and make sure. You know what I mean?
I got some
free healthcare.
Got some.
Man.
I'm here. Got some strong words by Nipsey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Shout out to
let me see that. Let me see that. That faith of what you're doing. Yep. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
Yep.
I'm trying out the new equipment today. I got the little selfie stick wand joint. Because see how this works.
What's up? I'm gonna be tired of shit. That's what's up.
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, like with this convo, I like to let you lead the convo.
Yes, sir.
Talking about rap.
Talk about rap.
Yeah.
Let's talk about rap.
We got an official intro.
We're talking about rap. So do we want to start with current events, or should we get into the because I got a few records to talk about. The way I want to talk today was I want to know the records that you fucked with the hardest, like not necessarily what was like the biggest records, and I guess that would point the finger right at me because I'm Mr. Mainstream.
Big
but like over the last however many 10 to 15 years, like the records that you just had them shits on repeat just because that was your shit.
Okay, and when you say records, you are talking about projects like entire albums, or you talking about singles?
Oh, in projects or mixtapes, because there was a nice little run there. So we could get into that. But
what was what current events did you have though? I'm not hip on anything that happened this week, tell you the truth.
So the shit that just happened yesterday is Drake's new single is out. Or I don't know if it's a new single, but it seems like his first new he's announcing the new project. Apparently it's gonna be called Iceman, which somebody in the comments said this is not a good time to call yourself Iceman.
Yeah, he don't care about when it's a good time, yo. Drake is on his own time.
He got the joint. It's called What Did I Miss? And I heard it a few times this morning to make sure that I knew what we was talking about. And he seems to be so apparently he did a live stream. And he did a live stream. I don't know what he was doing during the live stream, but he posted the record and I think he posted the video during the live stream, and then he pulled down the video because I can't find the video, but I can find the song. So his YouTube has the song up. Okay. And the song is dope, first of all, of course. But he's addressing what did I miss? He's addressing the fact that all the other people that was dissing him, basically he was like, what the fuck? And which is what I was curious about. And I think a lot of people at the beginning, before Kendrick started bombing on him, was like, where the fuck is all this coming from when it comes to Rick Ross and Future? Maybe he had beef with Metro. Like I saw that the beef was really Metro, and then Future kind of took it up, went up with him. But all the people that was basically around him, that just decided to switch up on him. And so he kind of addressed that. And I think they say he had a shot for LeBron on there. It's how people are interpreting it. With rap shit, you never really know who they're talking about these days unless they specifically talking about somebody.
Especially with Drake shit. Yeah.
Right. And Jay does that shit a lot too. Jay is the king of the subliminal shit where he's saying some shit that might be very specific to some people and the rest of us don't have no clue.
If you know, you know type shit.
Right, exactly. But yeah, but I thought I liked the joint, first of all. The joint is dope. I really like the fact that Drake always seems to want all the smoke, even if he takes the L, like he doesn't really seem to care. Like he's just gonna keep like being, saying what he wants to say. You could say it in certain situations, maybe he backed off, but like even with Pusha T, like he never really stopped sneak dissing Pusha T. He never really stopped like jabbing the motherfucker, even after all that shit. maybe you could say he just can't take a loss, or you could also say like, you know how it is. Like if we went outside and you got punched in your face, you're not gonna come outside no more. Like what you know what I'm saying? And so he seems to, for a dude that everybody thinks is not from the block or he's not that type of dude, he seems to have that block energy that like I'm gonna come outside regardless because this is my block and I'm gonna be
I,
outside whether y'all like it or not.
yeah, yeah. I think when describing him, those are words you might not want to use, like about their life and from the block, which he's not. But
He's not.
in
Yeah,
the literal term of music, like I'm down to get in this ring with you lyrically or whatever,
yeah.
he is definitely about. He's definitely from that cut. I will give him that. But
He,
far as like,
I,
I think the problem is the fact that he act like he's from the block and he's street when we know you're not. Like,
here's my theory on that, and I'm glad you said because I had a conversation. I've heard that so much. My theory on it is not that he, because people say like he all of a sudden became like this gangster rapper, or he became like he started to have that posture. What I think is not that he's trying to evoke something that he was before hip hop. What I think is that when you're Drake and you've been Drake for however long it's been since So Far Gone is at least like 15 years, you all of a sudden, when you're at the top of hip hop, you're getting shots from a whole bunch of people that we know about, and you're getting a whole lot of attention from negative attention from people that we don't know about. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
And that I think that that shit, if you have to survive in the music industry, and everything that comes with that for as long as he has, I think that's what's turned him into this hardened person. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Yeah.
just like, yo, in order to survive and take all those shots and be number one and be the guy that he's been for as long as he's been, you can't be no pussy. You know, and people, I think people should remind themselves how many goons is running around behind the scenes in hip hop. You know how often when you go out, there's people that want to try you, or how often that you can't just live and be normal, especially when you're that guy. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what has turned him into that. You know, he has the kid, but he's not exactly a family man. So it's not like he went inside and he still likes, for better or worse, he still likes to be outside and he still
Oh, so
likes
he,
to be.
he's the so he's that kid you hated from your neighborhood that had everything that he needed, but act like he was hard and was fronting like he was from this, that, and the third.
I wouldn't say it's that. I think it's more like how Tupac, like people said that Tupac wasn't really that guy before he was a rapper, right? And then as he became who he was and he was rolling with who he was rolling with, that like just the circumstances of being Tupac kind of turned him into, it's like if I'm gonna survive, I gotta be out here. I can't be soft, you know what I'm saying? And I gotta roll
That's
with the thugs and I gotta be because I remember Ice-T used to say that. Ice-T was like, yo, bro, we the real, I'm a real gangster. I'm really from that. Like, I don't want to be from that anymore. I'd rather do something else. We wish that you would do something else. And Pac was really like, nah, like, you know what I mean? Pac was like, listen, this is who I am. If I'm gonna be out here doing what I'm doing, if I'm gonna be soft, then I'm gonna get attacked. And then I'm not gonna be able to be who I want to be. And ultimately, that was his downfall.
I'm here. Yeah, I ain't gonna waste too much time on people I really don't know too much about.
Yeah,
Um,
check the record. Yeah, check the record. I think the record is cool.
yeah,
And then what's the other thing I wanted to say? I wanted to of course the biggest news in hip hop this week really isn't hip hop. It's the Diddy shit. And the acquittal. Well, not the acquittal, but if everybody kind of feels like he got off because
what, three out of
uh
four of them got dropped or something? Or
yeah, 3 out of 5 of them got dropped.
oh,
Basically, the most serious charges were sex trafficking and the racketeering
hmm.
charges. And I've heard like a lot of shit about this. All I want to say is I believe that Diddy is the type of person that's gonna see that's gonna see something like this and is gonna try to galvanize himself and come back outside and make a record and
Make a
have a big
record?
ass part. Yeah, I think he's going to do something to try
What?
to ingratiate himself back into the hip hop community. And I really think that people need to keep the same fucking energy. Like y'all need to keep the same because you've already seen people like I've seen like Ray J and Boosie don't count, but you've seen Boosie and a couple other people like,
Boosie
yeah,
don't count? Yo, that might be the title.
Boosie don't count because Boosie is always on some dumb shit. He is always on whatever the most ignorant thing
I
is.
mean, he's
Like
on
this dude,
brand though. Like he's on brand with who he's portrayed
him,
himself to be. Not portrayed himself to be, but who he is.
him. So I never. I mean, I guess I wasn't the biggest fan of his. Like, not that I don't like his shit, but like you're talking about somebody who's very problematic. He's very homophobic. He talked about allowing his son to get raped when he was 13 because like that's like little stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I
I'm
wouldn't.
definitely
That's
not.
why I
Yeah, I'm
say
definitely not
Boosie don't
speaking about
count.
it. Yeah, I'm definitely not speaking about his character. I don't. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like his
Okay.
character, he's shown that his character is this type of person that would support somebody like Diddy even after we've seen him, beat the shit out of a woman. All I'm saying is, I feel like there's going to be this thing where people are going to start to gravitate back to him, and I think Diddy is the type of person who absolutely wants a victory lap or just sort of like a redemption story out of this instead of just like chilling out, like, hey man, I'm in my late 50s, I got billions of dollars, let me just go chill over here and quietly just live the rest of my life. I feel like he's gonna want some kind of redemption story. And
Yeah, I mean, because for him, I mean, with people like him, money isn't what it is. It's more about power. So that's what he's still gonna.
I just I'm just saying it now. People that choose to run with that narrative, people that choose to stand next to him, like I really need people to keep the same energy. I need people to remember that this dude was, not just physically abusive, mentally abusive to black women. These two women aren't the only ones that were victimized by this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like people have always said that this dude was a bad guy. You're talking about predatory record deals with his artists. The Locks had to get physically violent with this cat to get their publishing back. He gave all the publishing back to all these artists right before the trial started. Like we know that this is somebody who's taken advantage of people for his whole career. You know what I'm saying? And like I don't want to see people running behind this cat and like, no, yeah, like yeah, Diddy. I don't want to see that shit, man. Like I really don't, because regardless of what they found him guilty for, regardless of what they found him guilty for, what they acquitted him for, like this is somebody that's taken advantage of people, that's used his power to hurt people, and somebody who we know has physically abused black women. So like, fuck that shit. Like I'm not trying to hear that shit.
No man, no man.
I mean,
I have no retort.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into this list. I don't mean to.
So, all right, cool.
Let me go to my just. Can I get my
Please. I'm very curious to know the
my
formative
my
record.
excuse this week. It's my excuse this week. I struggle because first of all, I want to do a Fave 5 FemCs, like lady. And then
yeah, we gotta do that.
I think I want to do a favorite 5 female projects. And I say that because I feel like 3 of my favorite 5 will probably be from the last year or two, with Alligator, with Scarlet. Yep. I love Scarlet by Doja Cat. And Worldwide by Tierra Whack. Like them 3 albums, like
Tierra Whack is so nice.
Yeah. So I struggle because of that. So I didn't want to put any of them in there.
Okay.
And this is different.
You have my commitment that next week we will do the FemCs.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because I want to shout Maya to Dawn, my little homie from Brooklyn. I love her.
For sure. And this is different from like favorite 5 albums, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just I would say that's like the shit that you fucked with the most. And if it's something that's off the beaten path of like the mainstream shit, then even better.
And then I had to distinguish it from my list of those One Was Enough.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of shit going on, and I still got like 20 joints. So
I'm starting to run out of bullets on that one last night. I was like, damn. But I think I fuck up if you ask me a question, then I can't answer it. But then if I'm not trying to answer something, then my brain works a little better.
All right, so I don't even know where I want to start. I'll start with a random one. Cash on Delivery by RayCash. I fucking love this
Okay.
project, and I still love this project, man. From of course, he had Sex Appeal was the big single, but then he had I think Bumping My Music with Scarface, and then he had Pussy Ass Niggas with Bun B and Pastor Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fiends, Fiends, Fiends. Like it was just such a damn. This could have been a what was enough. 'Cause I think he only had one. No, yeah. I think I'm pretty sure he had another one, but this was a classic.
This
Like,
was the big one.
yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is a
yeah.
classic album, dog. Like, and his
This was a
storytelling to me was
late.
fire.
This was a late Rap City classic, right? In the
Yeah.
late days of Rap City, bumping my music. And what was the other one? The
Sex
other
Appeal,
single,
Pimp in My Mind.
was that the one?
Yeah, Sex
He
Appeal,
had.
Pimp in My Own Mind. Yeah, that joint.
Oh,
Yeah,
Pimp in My Own Mind.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the one. Yeah,
yeah,
that shit was run. He was running that shit up.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was in the Freestyle Fridays or the battle, the 106 and Park battle era.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
was running that shit, no
But yeah,
doubt.
Cash on Delivery, RayCash, man. That's my first mention, yo.
All right. So the first one I put on my list, and you could tell by the alphabetical nature of it, is AZ. AZ Do or Die. AZ Do or Die. Boy, that motherfucker. First of all, there's no skips on there. There's not even something that you would think about skipping until you get to like the last two or three joints. And it's just because the vibe shifts on the beat. The beat was just real different on that one. I forget the name of it, but the way that shit, he shot out of a cannon with Uncut Raw. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how many when AZ came out. I don't know how many features he did after Life's a Bitch. He wasn't one of these cats that was moving around, and even that era wasn't one of those eras where you moved around a lot on mixtapes and did a lot of features, and then your shit came out. Because it was just like 94, 95 ish. But man, if you only heard the verse on Life's a Bitch, and then maybe the single from Sugar Hill, and then you popped on Do or Die, and Uncut Raw is the first thing you hear. Ooh,
Yeah.
boy, like he goes, you got Uncut Raw, you got the joint with Pete Rock, the rather unique, bro. You could play that album front to back right now, and I ran the shit out of that album when I was in boarding school around that time. And so, I'm out in the country and I was just running the shit out of that record. So AZ Do or Die, absolute classic that I think it gets its recognition,
Yeah.
but it's that joint to follow Illmatic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I felt like he did an admirable job following up Illmatic and give me yours and more money, more murder. And you know what I mean? He has some records.
It's funny when you said AZ on my on my list was actually Pieces of a Man. So
Yeah.
when you said, I was like, okay, yeah, I didn't know
Yep.
which way you gonna go, but
Pieces of a Man was
yeah,
also crazy dope.
all right.
Absolutely.
I think probably my biggest one is probably Face Off by Pastor Troy. Bro, when I tell you
Yo,
I love this album, bro.
why are we 5 episodes deep before I heard the name PTroy? Because I know that is your guy.
Thank you. The
That
funny
is
thing
your
about it, because
guy.
people always be like, yo, Mo, you all about lyrics and bars. I'm like, bro, Pastor Troy is like my favorite album for like 20 years of my life. What are we talking about?
Hell
Like if you talking about some shit, I'm on it, dog.
yeah.
Pastor Troy, dog, like from Vice Versa, because I seen the video for that. Goddamn
Yep.
Rhonda, the whole story with Rhonda. This is the
Yep.
city, moved to Mars, frame it like, yo, that fucking yeah, I love that album, dog. I love that. And that's when I had the dark, so that bitch was bumping. Like I had that bitch bumping, dog. That truck was rattling.
Yo, and just for anybody watching, if y'all think that we making up shit just for the podcast, I can confirm that 20 years ago, this man with the gray ass beard was knocking some PTroy and was telling all of us like, "Yo, y'all don't know about PTroy." Like I can confirm. I've known this man for 20 years, and he was saying that shit 20 years ago. You might could be like, Dave, how was you listening to Do or Die? I didn't hear that shit in your car. First of all, I didn't have a car, so fuck you. But second of all, like, all right, so let me hit you with one. This was one of my favorite albums of all time that made me a Roots fan was Illadelph Half Life.
Yes.
by the Roots. That fucking album, back when you had to give people 20 songs, there's no skips on there. Absolutely zero skips. It established I think Black Thought has essentially established himself as the nicest or one of the nicest since back then. And this is like 1996. And crazy is when I went through it yesterday, the number one shit I wanted to bring up was a verse that wasn't his. The one of the very rare times that somebody put Black Thought in a stranglehold. And I don't even know what his name is because I don't think I've ever heard him on another record after that. Definitely not on one with him. But if you pull up Clones, the first single from Illest Half-Life, first of all, let's talk about these ill papers and fly ass frontin' bitches that now call vapors. Niggas run up on you with guns, snatch your papers, outline body chart is how they will scrape you up off the pavement. I hate getting knocked because the upstate bus reminds me of a slave ship. Yo, that line, I hate getting locked because the upstate bus reminds me of a slave ship. Do we not talk about that shit today about how incarceration and the 13th Amendment is basically legalized slavery? You know what I'm saying? And my man was talking about that shit in 1996. So, bro, Illest Half-Life, shout to that whole record. Shout to, when we talk about a verse that sets off a crazy banger, I know Fife gets a lot of props, Prodigy gets a lot of props for his first verses. That first verse from Clones is ridiculous.
All right. My next one, Overly Dedicated by Kendrick Lamar. I can't remember whether Section 80 was first or this one was first, but
OD was first.
Okay.
OD was first.
This out, bro.
You remember I was confused by OD? Remember we talked about this?
Yeah.
I was confused. I was, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, I fucking love this I mean, Alien Girl, Average Joe, Michael Jordan, Pussy and Pop. Yo, like this, yeah. And like I said, like to come out the gate like that, or for me to be put on to you, and like so like your whole album run is ridiculous. Like if you include Section 80 and Overly Dedicated, like you're flawless. Like besides that Untitled joint, you're flawless.
I think people remember I told you that people say that Kendrick's career has been better than Nas's career. I think that's what people say is that like, yo, all of these projects, when you stack them up, you can't find a weak one in all of them. Another story about Mo that we could say is that your hustle back then was delivering these fucking CDs to people like me because I did not like downloading shit. I hated downloading shit. I was like, now that I downloaded what I'm supposed to do with it, I hated that shit. And Mo used to pull up, what's your order? What's your order? I had like 5, 6 CDs I would buy from you every couple of weeks. And OD was one of the ones that I bought from you. And I remember being like, I'm confused. What the fuck is this dude's voice? Like, what is his voice? He got the song about smoking weed and he don't like smoking weed. Like, it wasn't until Section 80 that I really was tapped in on it. And it's funny you mentioned it because the 14th anniversary of Section 80 was yesterday.
Oh, okay. Let me I'm about to shift over here too.
When it ain't no promo, stay Instagram and photos. Beer gang, J West, nigga, I am the logo.
You said the RayCash, you said Overly Dedicated, and you said the Pastor Troy joint, FaceOff. Yep. And so I said, all right, I said AZ, and I said the Illest Half-Life. So let me stay on this one. It maybe is a little bit more mainstream, but only for me, I counted it just because Common, like Water for Chocolate, Common went from being that super nice cat that had some mainstream movement. Mm-hmm. Back then, I felt like mainstream movement was maybe, I don't know if it was a little easier. I feel like it was just a different time. Like Water for Chocolate made him a superstar. You know what I'm saying? And so he went from being kind of an underground dude, definitely heavy Rap City energy. He had that kind of weird album with Pharrell that people didn't really understand, Electric Circus. And the reason I shout like Water for Chocolate, because this record catapulted him to be a superstar and really get the props that he deserved. But it was also, to me, this also made Jay Dilla a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Like Jay Dilla became, I don't know if he became a household name exactly because of this, but if you're gonna look back at Jay Dilla's career, a lot of the shit that he did, maybe Slum Village, a lot of it maybe wasn't as recognized as, like on a big level. And this shit put them both on the big stage.
And this is before he followed this up with B, or this is before?
This is before B. Yeah, this is before Good Music Common. And this one had The Light, which was the big single. But it also had Sixth Sense, which was the only one that wasn't a Dilla produced record. I think that was the only one, and it was the DJ Premier shit. And boy, that DJ Premier Common combination, shit, we might not have gotten a whole lot of those joints, but boy, that shit, I remember that shit was on the radio. Like that record, that whole record from the beginning to the end, just so many joints. And I remember, Jay, people don't remember the Uma collective was Q-Tip and Ali Shaheed and Jay Dilla. They made that whole collective just because they had to stand next to Jay Dilla. Like they was like, yo, we gotta lift this dude up. He's so nice. And and I think he did a lot of records on A Tribe Called Quest, Beats, Rhymes, and Life. He did a lot of records on the Love Movement. So I can't say that this is like the only big mainstream moment for him, but I felt like this was a real coming out party, another coming out party for Dilla, and so that shit was really, really crazy. And Calm was in his bag on the whole shit. Calm, you really can't find a whole lot of Common albums where he's not in his bag, truthfully. Like that dude is nasty. So I'm gonna go with that
one. All right, my next one will be For All Seasons. Nature.
Yeah.
Yo, I love it.
Yo, we ain't friends no more.
Yo.
How it ends. Yo,
that project is so fire. You talking about No Skip or Throw It On Shuffle? Like that whole album is fire. The Ultimate High, this shit.
That one had that one. So the shit with For All Seasons, if you were from New York, is the delay on that shit was crazy. It almost didn't come out. Like it got promoted so heavy. You saw the posters everywhere. Yeah. And then this shit just got delayed for so long. I was like, what the fuck? And then when it finally came out, what's the other joint? The Nature's what's the
Wild Gremlin?
No. The Nature Shine, the big single from that album. That shit was burning Hot 97 alive. Like everybody who was playing records on Hot 97 was bumping that shit. Let me not jack your record though. Go ahead, you talk about it.
No, you doing it. You was from New York. You know the vibes more than I do.
They was playing the fuck out of Nature Shine. They was playing the fuck out of that record because that beat was so crazy. And Trackmasters was his production team, and their shit was so, Trackmasters will put you on the radio in 2 seconds, but those beats that they was giving him was just so, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just so different, and you just thought that the shit was gonna drop, and it just didn't for mad long. And then when it finally did, it did, but it was that crazy.
So what happened? Why he didn't do more?
I will tell you that if you're gonna shelf somebody's project for mad long, that's gonna take the momentum away from it. You know what I'm saying? And so I felt like just the momentum. I don't remember what the inner workings was for it at the label with Columbia Records. It's probably record executives be fucking shit up, man. These are people that don't understand music. They understand business and they understand music, but they don't understand it together. But I don't know why, but I think they just took a lot of the momentum away from it. And maybe Nature wasn't going to be a big star. Like you got to look at Cruise. How many people from Cruise all become big stars? Usually you got your one, that's Nas, And then you got your A, who wasn't AZ, wasn't a big star, but he had a prolonged career. If you get a third and fourth that have long careers, Fox had a great career. If you get a fourth person that has a great career, you lucky. He just fell under the fray or whatever it was. But that record was
I like that
crazy,
record.
crazy
Minus
record.
Minus what is it, Young Love?
Yeah.
Minus Young Love. I love that album, dog.
Yeah. I loved that album. I would say I wanted it to be better than it ultimately was, like, for me. But like there was joints on there that I absolutely, when we get finished, I'm absolutely gonna play We Ain't Friends. We Ain't Friends is great.
Man's World, yes.
Yeah, I'm absolutely gonna be putting that shit on. I'm gonna say, let's stay on the firm. The album, I don't know if it's his most slept on album, because Nas didn't make every album wasn't incredible from Nas, but the nigga album was legitimately crazy. Like, I felt like, obviously the nigga album got delayed a lot because he tried to call it nigga.
Yeah.
But
I forgot this was the time.
Yeah, and let's talk about the records from there. He was the first rapper to really talk about Fox News the way that he did. He had the Sly Fox record. He talked about seeing UFOs, about UFOs being real on that record. And I think that's probably like a little side record that really didn't play a lot. But the first record was produced by Jay Electronica. Nas jumped he jumped off the porch with putting Jay Electronica on one of his records when you knew who he was, but like you didn't really. That was like his first mainstream look, I think, was putting him on there. Okay. He got what do you say on that first song? You Can't Stop Us. Betsy Ross made the first American flag. Bet she had a nigga with her to help her old ass. Like, like the way he set that record off was crazy. And to me, for everybody that loves To Pimp a Butterfly, to me, nigga was the first version of To Pimp a Butterfly. It was the same energy. You know what I'm saying? Like Nas was directly, he called it nigga, and he had the album cover with the N with the lashes on his back. You know what I'm saying? Because he was basically talking directly about the condition of being a black man in America in that time. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he was trying to describe.
Now that I think about it, definitely was an album that you don't really hear a lot about.
People don't talk about it.
If I could sit down and write down 20 of Nas albums, I doubt if I would have came up with this without that conversation.
And there are ones that deserve to not be talked about. Like, I didn't really like Hip Hop Is Dead. I didn't really like Street's Disciple. I thought they didn't have to make it 2 albums. The Damian Marley shit. There's records that he has that don't deserve to be talked about.
You like the
this isn't
Marley
one of them. I mean, it was fine, but I think I was a little bit like,
relatives?
Yeah, Distant Relatives.
That's
like,
a crazy take.
Like for me, like I could see why people might have been lost by the connection of him and Damian Marley. Like, you didn't have a lot of context for it, and then it comes out, and it's like there wasn't a lot of songs that connected them together. So you're like, what is this? But that one, I think the Nigga album deserves to be talked about with any of the Nas classic albums. He talked about Obama with Black President. Fried Chicken, Fly Vixen, right? You know what I mean? Like that, the Fried Chicken record. What do you say? Fried Chicken, Fly Vixen, British Sun down, but need you in my kitchen. You a bird, but you ain't a key. Got wings, but you can't fly away from me. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Fried Chicken record is another one of those stories. It's like a story that he's telling about African Americans' connection to peasant food, to poor people food. You know what I mean? And what it does to your body. And then Buster comes through talking about about eating pork on there. There's just a classic Nas record. And Nas has so many of these joints where and so many features and joints where he just will give you a 16 that nobody needs to talk after. You know what I'm saying? Like, as much as everybody loves verbal intercourse, and I'm not saying that Ray and Ghost's verses were whack on verbal intercourse, but you could have just ended the song after his verse. You know what I mean? And like State Chisel, bro, his verse on State Chisel, like you didn't like, and Large Pro killed State Chisel, and State
So is
Chisel is
Nas
his
your
song.
favorite rapper?
I think so. I think Black Thought is the best MC
I
that's
like
ever
that. I
rapped
like that
words
answer.
into a microphone, but I think Nas is my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, my bad.
No,
The
you good.
nigga album. The nigga album. I ran that shit up. I ran that shit up.
All right. Well, my last one. Well, I ain't gonna say my last one because we definitely could do some honorable mentions after this if you want. But
Yeah.
it's probably the one. James and Nikki is an album by Rhymefest. Came out like 2 years ago.
Shout out to Che.
Conversation between James Baldwin and Nikki
Nikki
Giovanni.
Giovanni.
He
Yep.
uses all them skits and stuff. It's a beautiful fucking project, dog. It's an amazing project. Like that's all I can say. It's like this is like my suggestion part. Like I'm trying to put people on and shit. Like this
I need to listen to that.
Fucking it's beautiful. It's beautifully made. Like Rhymefest, he was a dope MC. Like we knew he had skills. Whether
right.
he didn't put out a lot of projects, but you could tell he had skills. So
yeah.
The way he put this joint together, it was just, and it's so timely. So this is like my most recent joint on here. Like the rest of them, like just people how old they are. But yeah, this is my most recent joint. I think it's like
shout out to Rhymefest for doing what he's doing in the communities in Chicago. I believe he's a councilman in Chicago. He's a real dude out here that's really doing shit in the community. I remember I had one of his mixtapes, Plug City, it was called. He was the first person that I heard call a connection a plug, and I believe he called the record Plug City when he was talking about Chicago. So shout to that. Yeah, that dude his career, he has an incredible career. Wasn't he the dude that battled Eminem in the Rap Olympics battle?
No, I didn't know this. You're telling me something.
I want to say that he was the dude because Eminem lost. Did Eminem lose that battle and then got signed by Dr. Dre, or did he win? I forget. I know.
Yeah,
I think
he did lose a battle though.
Right, and I want to say it was Rhymefest. His Rhymefest told a story about something that he basically said. He was like, I think Eminem just called me a nigga. Like they battled. He was like, damn, Eminem just called me a nigga. Like, and he didn't say the words nigga, but he basically like said some line like that. And he was like, but he got away with that shit because that shit was just so hard. like I think there's footage of the actual battle itself. But shouts out to him. All right, so my last one will be a combination of a little run. And I realize that the more we do this, we're going to keep bringing up the same names because your favorite artist is the dude that you think is the nicest might be your favorite artist and probably has a bunch of projects that you like. And so Saha the Prince, his run started with Royal Flush, right? Which, goddamn it, you can't. It was on iTunes, it's not anymore. And then the Black History projects, those Black Ivy League, which came after, I believe, the two Black History projects.
I forgot all
These
about
were special. These were Poe deliveries because you brought all three of these through my house. The first, I didn't love the second Black History project, but the first Black History project was really, really crazy. And Ivy League, I felt like Ivy League that could have just been an album. He put out so much crazy shit that really could have just been commercially released. But I guess you see how it all worked out. If you're going to be the ghostwriter for Travis Scott and for Kanye West, you don't really need to, that dude's probably sitting on royalties and publishing checks forever with all that shit that he wrote. But I felt like that little run there of Royal Flush, Ivy League, the two Black History projects, and another thing that we need to do is we need to go and point out like our favorite Sway in the Morning freestyle type shits or whatever. Because if you really want to know how crazy Sahai was, go and pull up any of his LA Leakers freestyles or his Sway in the Morning freestyles, or like this man, I feel like there's just a whole nother category of MC that Sci-Hi belongs in. And he really put that shit on display with the Ivy League shit and with and Black History Project.
This is the second time you've done that. Like, you name a person and I got hyped because I have No Dope on Sundays on my honorable mention list. Like,
So
No
dope.
Dope on Sunday is a fire project, bro.
It's so crazy.
Fire project, yeah.
It's so crazy. And I stopped listening to Sci-Hi for a few years because when it was clear that Kanye was descending into what he has turned into now, Sci-Hi was very big online and trolling and defending him. And I got, you see Pusha T now has fully separated himself from Kanye. And I just wanted everybody to separate themselves from him even back then, because I was like, yo, I was out on slavery was a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we all should have been out after that, because now he's making songs about Hitler and doing all other shit. Like, I saw it all back then. So I stopped fucking with Sci-Hi because of that. And as of late, I've just gone back through. I absolutely had No Dope on Sundays, like on repeat forever. And so just allow myself to just listen, just be entertained by music and not worry about the other shit. And boy, like that dude, there needs to be a whole another category for people like him. And you could put, Locksmith in there, and you could put Loaded Lux in there, and like, you know what I mean? And like, these just people that's like the shit that these dudes do with words, man.
Yes.
It's so like their vocabulary is just like their playground. You know what I mean? Like,
you fuck with Elzai?
Thank you.
Words.
Thank you. What's the joke? Lead poisoning, right? Isn't that one? Lead poisoning. Let's talk about a record that Elzai is one of the nicest dudes out here doing it. The Jericho Jackson shit was crazy, and they just put out like a maxi single of Jericho Jackson joins him in Crisis. They put out 3 or 4 records like a few months ago. Thank you for bringing it up, Elzai.
It's funny you bring up Crisis, but I'm thinking about another Crisis or whatever, because he did collabos with Flea Lord out the whole Griselda joint.
Yeah.
That was another joint that was my joint. Full Court Press. Like, it's some. I named the random five that almost made it. It's funny because you said run. It was the Helter Skelter run.
Yeah.
Nocturnal to Magnum Force to Dirt, like them joints. I love them, and I run them all the time.
Magnum Force.
Yeah.
Magnum Force was crazy.
Fire.
And I really loved the fact that there was a Ruck, Rock, and Starang thing that was separate, because Starang's so nice, man. And he's just so entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, Starang shit to me was crazy. And I ain't having that.
Love it.
The way they sampled the hot sex beat. Love it.
So that First Family for Life, MOP.
Yeah. Oof.
Interstate 38 Special, his project.
Of course. Anything 38.
Michael by Killer Mike. Again, too much to your chagrin.
Yeah. I really wish I liked him more. Like what just came out?
That was it, Michael.
No. Killer Mike has a feature on a record that just came out, and I was just listening to it. Oh man, it's gonna bother me. Oh, you keep going. I'll find it. It was on my own.
An Adrenaline Rush by Twista.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was me and my brother used to run that tape.
He's somebody whose name that we have not brought up enough on this show.
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest. He's absolutely one of the greatest. He's a pioneer, a Chicago pioneer for sure.
Spitting that fast and clearly though. Like, a lot of niggas spit fast and you couldn't understand every single word. He spit as fast as I talk on the record.
And the thing is that he's not spitting fast just for the sake of spitting fast. Like, you can hear the words in there. Like, it's the way that he writes. Like, he just has a dope, you know what I mean? Like, he just has a really, really dope way of flipping his shit. I want to give a shout out, honorable mention shout out to Smoke DZA. Smoke DZA's new album, Smoke DZA's new shit is the one I'm talking about. He has a Killer Mike feature on his new shit, and that one's crazy. Smoke DZA has been really, really, really killing people for a minute now. You know, and you can kind of pick whichever ones you want. You know, George Push the Button and Rugby Thompson, and I really, really like these two little joints he has. Where he has like a picture of the dream team, and he's like, you know what I mean? So the Barcelona tape was the first one, and now it's this one with the Berlin tape that just came out yesterday. You need to check for that one. That's the one that Killer Mike was on.
That and JID. That's what I plan on riding to when I on the way back.
Yeah,
JID just a 4-piece, but yeah, I'm definitely hyped about that DZA joint.
Killer Mike is on the last song, and he absolutely killed it. And I'm sitting there thinking about how it is that I'm going to justify my Killer Mike tape when you bring him up, and I'm going to not have a whole lot to say. All I'm going to say is that Killer Mike took a picture with Brian Kemp. He talked about how Democrats are, that's my comeback, is he talked about how Democrats are just a different side of the slave house. And then he went and took a picture with this literal slave master, Brian Kemp, the governor from Georgia, who does not want black people to vote. So I was, you know,
that's a defense. That's fucked up, dog.
That's the only shit I have, because that motherfucker can obviously spit. And I started to realize all the joints that he does have. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. When we get to this section, I might not have as much to say as I really thought, because he's obviously a problem.
You got some honorable mentions?
Not exactly. No, I didn't really put too much thought into the honorable mentions, so I don't want to run off at them out. But let me also shout out real quick. Let me shout out LL Cool J. Because I have complained a lot about rappers and MCs pretending that the shit that's happening to us in our communities is not something that they need to pay attention to and be a part of. And I don't know if you know this, but in Philadelphia right now, there's a big labor union that's on strike. The labor union that represents the sanitation workers in the city of Philadelphia is on strike because they're trying to get a raise. And so right now in the city of Philadelphia, the streets are flooded with garbage, like literally trash everywhere. And LL Cool J had a July 4th show, and so did Jasmine Sullivan in Philadelphia, and they didn't perform. He made a video. He looked like he was crying, like he was emotional in tears. And he talking about how much he loves his fans and how much it hurts him to not, because, you know, LL Cool J at the end of the day is just an MC's MC. Like, he just wants to get the microphone and rip that shit, right? And he just said, I'm not performing. He said, I'm not crossing the picket line. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pretend that what's happening in Philadelphia is okay, and that I don't have to, that I get to step over y'all and not be a part of this thing that's happening. So him and Jasmine Sullivan decided not to perform, and I just want to shout out LL Cool J and Jasmine Sullivan for caring about us, frankly, you know, because I think more rappers, they get to enjoy being a part of our community and being revered by us, and they also get to enjoy, you know, a life that's privileged and one that they deserve, frankly. Not that they don't deserve it, but, you know, I just want them to remember that people like us are very much in the fray, very much in the fight of a lot of this shit that's happening right now. And little gestures like that of just skipping a show and just bringing awareness, you know, because the one thing it made me do was to go and Google and go and research and be like, yo, I knew what was happening in Philadelphia, but it made me kind of hit the links a little bit more and just see about that, of what was happening. So he's bringing awareness.
The cookout we had, somebody came from Philly and was telling us about how the trash is just in the streets, bro. Like, they don't strike, just in the streets. And she was
the mayor is a black woman. You know, it's not like this is a white man doing this. Like, the mayor is a black woman, you know. So you know, I know that they'll come to a resolve soon. And, you know, little rappers have so much power, so much stuff that they can do, you know, and so much influence where they don't have to, we're not asking you to, you know, to necessarily be an activist, but just a little sacrifice like that brought a lot of attention to an issue.
It brings awareness, and that's all.
It brings awareness.
We just need to be aware of more stuff that's going on besides the little pockets that we're in.
And you haven't, like, we in 2025 in Trump's America, we have so little power. We don't have the courts. We feel like we don't have all the politicians on our side. We have so little. We need all of the resources that we do have. And the power for us is always people power. And I just want our celebrities, I want our superstars to help us, to be a part of our people power, because they can help us mobilize our people power just because they are who they are. You know what I'm saying? If the Roots get together and do some shit in Philadelphia and say, we all getting together here on this date, like they can literally gather the whole city, you know, and in Richmond the same. If our people here do it, if these people have the ability to get us all together and mobilize the one thing that we do have. And so I just want to speak to that and give him his real fucking flowers for that, because he deserves it.
Respect. Yeah, and Mr. Smith is definitely one of my favorite albums ever.
Shout out to LL for being the MC's MC. He doesn't have to do that. This Rock the Bells, he reclaimed his Rock the Bells name because Rock the Bells was another show and he reclaimed it. He has a radio station. He doesn't have to do any of this shit. That dude's a superstar, movie star. He's good for the rest of his life. He's approaching, if he's not already in his 60s, he's approaching his 60s. He doesn't have to do any of this shit. LL Cool J is an MC's MC. You know what I'm saying? Like he was the first Drake, and it was probably easy to think that like he could just make his little party records and his little records, whatever, and just do that. But like he's a real MC's MC, and every time he has the opportunity to talk about hip hop, you can see it. You know, first hip hop superstar.
Yeah. Talking about rap, man. It was a good one. It's another good convo, dog.
Yes, sir. This was a good one, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
And I'm gonna make sure that I post as soon as you put up the YouTube. I make sure I rewatch it, get the minutes up. I got CapCut now, so I can cut parts myself too. So I'll make sure I'll be more active. People was asking about it. Like I said, at the cook I was at, people asked about the show.
Oh, okay. That's what's up there.
Yes, sir.
We're doing something all right then.
All right, bro. Yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right, go.
You tired of being broke? Get that lint out your pocket. Do something, turn that common sense into profit. You ain't dumb, bruh, even the dumb ones luck up. Slap away handout, yeah, grow some nuts, cause I know you had enough for